Don't you hate it when it's a beautiful day, you got your boat hooked up, you drop that bad boy in the water, you climb in that boat seat, you sit on a crack, and it stabs you in the back. Well, for $62, I can put your big ass in that seat in comfort. So far, so good. It's held up good for me anyway. So y'all stick around and see how I done this and enjoy the show. Well, I didn't explain this very, very well in my video, so I'm trying to kind of do a little recap, a fast recap here at the beginning. But you'll see, it'll help you to understand what I did and what I'm talking about. On my passenger side seat, what I did, I got to looking online on how to fix my boat seats. And because boat seats are expensive and repair is even more expensive. And I can't afford it right now. And I think I say that in the video. And I mean, I'm not cheap. It's just, we got kids and bills and house payments just like everybody else does. So what I had to do was do the best I could. And I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty resourceful when I need to be. And I'd watched other people's way they did stuff with Permatex and different things. And I couldn't find what I was looking for and what I needed for my situation. So, for example, here's just an old couch cushion. This is my passenger side seat. If you'll notice, my passenger side seat has a little bit of a raise to it. It looks almost like a headrest, which is fine. I don't care. But I had tape and mess all over it. And my boat's 21 years old this year. And for a 21-year-old boat, it's in pretty good shape. I mean, considering I've took care of it since I've had it. It needs a good washing and buffing right now. And it's going to get that this week. But on my passenger side seat, all three of my seats were horrible from sun damage and cracking. And on the passenger side, there was no material at all on the top. There was none. So what I had to do is I used one of these cheap $1, $2 spatula. I can't think of what they're called. My brain's froze. Spreader things. Putty knife. There we go. Plastic putty knife. And I put a light. I tried to push that stuff in. And I put a light coat where I could get it to bond. Now, this stuff right here is drywall tape. I knew I had to have something for the paste to bond to other than, the stuffings, the mess inside the seat. So I use this drywall tape, and it is sticky, and it will try to bond, but I put a light layer, just a thin layer to help it bond. And I put this drywall tape down, and I brought it across and pushed that stuffing in just like that. And I did, and it'll stick to it, as you can see. And I made a cup without the paste that I used. But when it held down, I made several passes. It's called, if you ever done dirt work, it's called cross hatching. When you're packing a berm or something, or a building pad, you'll take your machine and you'll roll it or you'll track it this way, and then you'll track it this way. It's called cross hatching. So what I did was I cross hatched the top of that seat. You use what you know, use the knowledge you have, and it worked. So I come back and I took smaller strips and put across this way. What I should have done was did the small strips this way and then the long strips over top. But it held fine, so I'm good with it. But if you do yours, put your short strips one way and then your longer strips the other way. So I got all this down, and I used Flex Paste. This is some pretty good stuff. It's not the easiest stuff in the world to work with, but for what I need, it works fine. And unless you want to, get in your pocketbook and buy new boat seats, then hey, this works fine. This will look way better than tape. It gets rid of all those cracks. It helps to protect everything. But just go to town, man. Get that Flex Paste and just start putting that paste around it. Now, my first coat was probably a 1/4 inch thick. I let it set because you can still see some of this trying to bleed through the surface of that Flex Paste. So I let it set real good. I got in there and I sanded some and worked on it. Really sand around your edges where your seat material meets your Flex Paste. Really smooth that down. I didn't smooth mine as good as I wished I had of, but I'm fine with it. It's okay. I'm good. But if you really want it to look better, kind of smooth this down, this area through here, where your seat meets the Flex Paste. And I learned in sanding, don't scrub that. It's kind of a rubbery type stuff. Don't scrub it. Smooth it. Take your sandpaper. This was sandpaper. Take your sandpaper and just stroke it like that. Long sanding mark, long sanding lines, across it. And it does way, way better. It knocks it down twice as fast. But before you sand, you'll have ridges from this. You'll have little ridges, like little mountain ridges, with this stuff where you pushed it on there and smeared it on. Before you start sanding, take a razor blade and, I'll just use my reading glasses. Take a razor blade and get on each side of those little ridges and bring it real lightly up through there and just shave those ridges off. That'll save you so much time. So I got it down smooth, got it looking pretty good. Still had some of this mesh showing through. So I turned back around. When I got the mesh, I could see how much more I needed. And I put another layer, about another 1/4 inch thick. A little less than 1/4 inch thick, just a good thick layer. And that was enough to cover it for me. So I let it sit. It says 15 minutes to cure on the surface, but 24-hour complete cure time. I let it sit about 21, 22 hours. I actually went fishing yesterday and caught probably one of the biggest bass I ever caught in my life and lost it, and the camera wouldn't work, so I'm not going to get into all that because it'll sound like a fishtail. But I went fishing. I was out in the weather. It was kind of muggy and humid and drizzling a little bit of rain off and on, and it did fine. I brought it back in. It needed some more sanding done, so I done some more, the sanding strokes, long strokes on it, worked on the edges, excuse me, and it was a little bit, I don't want to say soft and not really tacky, but it hadn't quite cured yet. So I took my hand and I pushed in real hard, and I used my hand to help smooth that stuff out, really smooth it out, and that helped it tremendously. So when I got it all smoothed out, my next goal was to tape that bad boy up and paint it. So you're gonna need some painter's plastic, you're gonna need some painter's tape, and you're gonna need some paint. And I don't know where my paint is, but I'll take a picture of it and I'll throw it up here while I'm talking. But it was Rust-Oleum Bonds to Anything primer paint. And it done an excellent job. So I can't complain. I'm as happy as I can be. The Southern Bowie Nitro Cruiser looks really, really good, and I'm happy. And what are you doing? I got a puppy in here. We got a new addition to the family. His name is Bug. And Bug is into something. Bug. Buggy. There you are. You want to say hi? You want to say hi, Bug? Well, he don't want to say hi right now, but anyway, it came out great, and I'm happy. Bug's happy. Me and him's going to try to do some fishing this week. We want to go to Florida. The birds are still in the big boat. They're never going to fly away. I'm going to put a little eviction notice out there. I've been trying to keep an eye on them, and I opened the tarp up enough to where it stays cool, because that dark, black dark tarp holds a lot of heat. I don't want my birds to die. So if I ain't going to get to go fishing, I want to make sure they live, So it's been raining all night. I was out here this morning at 5 o'clock with a flashlight, checking on them and making sure the rain hadn't come in the tarp and flooded them out. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you find it helpful, or interesting, please like, subscribe. It really helps my channel get going. It won't cost you anything but your time. And ring that bell. And if you like, leave a comment. Comments are welcome. Comments help. Comments help my algorithms. So anyway, on with the show. My nitro seats are in bad shape. And I'm probably going to get on bassboatseats.com and order some new ones. But the seats I like, they don't have. I'm going to have to make do with what they got. And I love my nitro step seat. I've contacted Nitro trying to get new covers for these seats, and I've had no luck whatsoever. They just, I don't know, it's just, boat's just too old. It's a 2000 model, 2000 or 2001, but it's still a good old boat. So this is what my seats look like. I mean, they're pretty janky. And what I'm doing, I watched a guy use Permatex. I didn't like Permatex. I'm like Tim the Toolman Taylor. We want more power. So I used Flex Seal. It is sandable, it is paintable, but I also used some mesh tape, like for drywall. This stuff right here,
to where I had something, some kind of a backing for it to help hold the styrofoam or the foam in the seat. Because I mean, the whole top of this one was gone. And this boat was like this when I bought it. It's in good shape for the year it is, but it could be in a lot better shape. You know, it wasn't taken care of like it should have been. And I've kept it either covered or in the shop ever since I've owned it. So I'm just trying to get by a little bit longer. Not that I'm that cheap, but I hate to spend the money right now. And the seats I want, they don't have. Which, you know, new seats are still nicer than old ripped up seats, but, you know, I like old stuff. It don't bother me. So we're going to sand this out and see how it comes out. And if it looks like crap, I'll throw some more electrical or duct tape back over it because it still look better than this. This stuff is paintable, so I'm going to paint it to match the seat and as close as I can. And if it don't look like crap, we're going to rock and roll with it a little bit longer. So, I mean, it's flexible. It's very, very, very flexible. It's not cracking. And it says it is paintable, so we will see. But I've got to smooth it down a little bit more with a razor, and then I got to sand the edges where it meets the vinyl. And of course, I'll do that after the edges, after I get another good coating over it and get it slicked down. And we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so I got the second coat on, and you want to take that razor again. And all these little high ridges from your putty knife, try to get them down while it's, you know, somewhat it's cured out, but it hasn't finished curing yet. Sorry, I was looking at the spot, but you'll see a little high ridge. Maybe I won't mess it up because I really don't need to take any more, but just barely skim that ridge. Just take a little bit off like that. Of course, you can take that razor with both hands. And just kind of work it back towards you on these ridges, these little high spots. Just barely skim it. I hope I don't mess it up. So you can, once you get started, you can just skim it all the way across and bring them edges down. And the more you get down, the less you're gonna have to sand. So, yeah. I went fishing on them today. They do fine. You can push them. See, it's not gonna crack. It's not gonna turn loose. I've got this one pretty well slicked down and sanded. I just got in. I'd sanded on it a little bit earlier, so it wasn't that bad anyway. But you're not gonna get all, you know, it's not a professional job. This is just something that looks better than duct tape. And I've had duct tape. I've had this boat 3 years. These seats have been just horrible for 3 years. The bottoms of the seats are okay. I like it solid, firm seat. So I may try to get my center seat repaired good one of these days, have it completely recovered to match the BashBoatSeats.com seats, and then put 2 new, you know, driver's seat, passenger seat in. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I can. But I've got this slicked down pretty good. Like I said, this is a poor man's boat seat repair. I've got about 50 bucks in it, $57, not counting the paint. And I've got to take 1 can of stuff back. So when it's all said and done, I've probably got 65, you know, anytime I take that other can of paint back that didn't match and blah, blah, blah. So what you want to do is take your sandpaper. I'm using, I forget what grit it is. I'll look and I will picture or something with it so you can see what grit I'm using. Because it's not like a paint job on a car. You're not going to get this stuff smooth. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, nitros, they look brand new, my nitro seats. You're not going to get that. Sprinkle a little bit of rain, so I got to wrap this up and get it in the shop so I can start painting. But when you sand, don't sand normal. Don't brush it, you know. Do long, smooth strokes with it. And it'll lay it right down. It's not going to be perfect. Like I said before, there's no way to get it perfect unless you want to spend the money and have somebody redo your seat. But it's better than duct tape. But when you get on these edges where it meets your vinyl, you can scrub it right there and get all that rough edge down to where it's smooth. And you got a smooth transition going up into this substance here on top that is very, very flexible and will not break loose from your seat. Well, it don't look like it's gonna break loose. It may eventually, but hey, you know, it's a cheap fix, get you by for a while. It really looks a lot better than this camera's making it look. But once you get paint on it, it's probably gonna show how bad it is or how good it is. So we will see what happens. I also noticed that it kind of wants to beat up on you like trash where it's sanding off. Just use your hand and just put a little pressure and roll that mess off there and mold kind of. I mean, it's just my hand alone where it's still a little bit, maybe not as cured as it needs to be. It's really smoothing that down now that I've got it sanded and got it, you know, kind of that top coat that was cured the most off of it. And man, it's really laying down super good. So I want to get it to where I don't feel anything under my hand. Unfortunately, I got really, really calloused hands. I'm a working man, so it's gonna be hard to tell. But I got decent vision because I got new contacts the other day, new glasses, so. So if you found this video helpful, it looks pretty good. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So like, subscribe, tell your mama and them about us, and ring that bell, baby.